Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hadison podcast, the Black's Mind First Village. My name is Hadison, fana seTontoni Mpumalanga, phansi Mayflower Mpuluze, Petersburg, Shabalala, eGlenmore, Slovo, Ewe Valley. I'm coming to you live from Mbombela, the capital city of Mpumalanga, the east, the real east. And I'm here today to assure you guys that South Africa is not a failed state. South Africa is not a failed country. I believe that the only issue with South Africa is it doesn't have people who's going to market it. Shout out to Lutendo Matinyarare, who is an activist for Zimbabwe sanctions, the sanctions that have been imposed to Zimbabwe. He is the guy who's talking the good things that are happening in Zimbabwe. He is the guy who is talking about everything that's well in Zimbabwe, and he's fighting the sanctions heavily. The sanctions that have been imposed to Zimbabweans and most of the big companies that are in Zimbabwe that are boosting the economy, that are making the economy of Zimbabwe to function effectively. So those companies were sanctions. They can't trade with any country in the world, especially in dollars. So by virtue of that, even the countries that are going to trade with those companies that are sanctions, they are going to be sanctioned as well, because America, they believe that those companies, they are trading illegally and all those sort of things. It's a topic for another day. But if you need more information, go and Google it, or you can just go and check Lutendo Matinyarare sort about that. And then you'll have a broader view of what's happening in Zimbabwe. What are sanctions? Why are there sanctions in Zimbabwe? And all those kind of things. Shout out to Ntate David Mashabela, the guy who is hosting Podcast and Chill on David Mashabela Studios. I think he has a company called Mashabela Creatives, whereby each and everything on the creative sides that he is doing, they've been done under that umbrella. I know during lockdown he was busy with shows and he was recording music shows and all those kind of things. I don't have the full context of what he is doing, but one thing that I know for sure, he has studios where Podcast and Chill are recording, where David Mashabela podcast they are recording. Shout out to him for the episode that he did with the Deputy Minister of Higher Education, Upoti. I forgot his surname, but his name is Poti. He's the Deputy Minister of Higher Education. He's the deputy to Dr. Blade Nzimande. Shout out to them for the interview that they did. Last week I watched the whole 1 hour 55 minutes interview that they did. It's on YouTube. If you want to check it, just go check David Mashabela Studios on YouTube. That's the name of the channel, and then you'll check the interview. Guys, what I wanted to say today is that South Africa is not a failed state, and I'd like to emphasize this heavily because I think the main issue with South Africa is that the good things that are happening in South Africa have not been portrayed yet. People in the media, they still have the mentality of apartheid. So when apartheid ended, their mentality didn't end, because if you can remember correctly, what the black media was doing during apartheid is that they were talking about all the bad things that were happening in South Africa, all the injustices that were happening in South Africa. They're exposing it to the world so that people will know that there are bad things that are happening in South Africa, things that are not aligned with human rights and all those kind of things. So they wanted other countries to intervene and talk to the then government of the apartheid and all those kind of things. So in apartheid is a system that was imposed to South Africa. The process of it to happen, it took years and years, but then when the whites, the Afrikaners, They only got the power in 1848. That's when they got the power, and then they implemented the apartheid. So the apartheid was a system that was meant to uplift the lives of the white people in South Africa. So each and everything that has been done was done to uplift the lives of the white people in South Africa, and the blacks, they were inferior. So they not much time and effort was been done to uplift their lives and all those kind of things, and those minimum people that's their lives have been uplifted. Yeah, it was just a small number. It was just a small number of working class for teachers and all those kind of things, teachers and nurses and all those kind of things. But it was just a small number of those kind of people. So the apartheid ended in 1994 when the first democratic elected president in South Africa, Tata Nelson Mandela, was put in charge of the country as the first democratic elected president, and then that's when the apartheid ended. But the media, especially the black media, they didn't change. They didn't change their focus, because if you remember, each and everyone during apartheid was an activist. Even if you were a singer, Abu Miriam Makeba, Bonke and Abu Huma Sikela, when they were traveling overseas, they were singing about everything that's were happening in South Africa. There's a song about Nelson Mandela. There is a song about Aluta Continua and all those kind of style songs that were there. So those songs were there to put question marks in people's head. So when they were talking about those things, and then people had to try obviously to learn, because I can imagine even for myself as well, if someone comes to me and speak and sing a beautiful melody song that sounds so nice in Afrikaans, I'll be eager to try to learn, or at least understand what's happening, what do the words mean, and all those kind of things. I think we usually do that with each and every song, especially big song in South Africa. When there's a big song and the lyrics, I remember in Gomaya as expanding Zakhelo Matita that he did Osama. I think the lyrics, it was another language or something like that. Up to this day, I still don't understand what the lyrics were saying, what language was it, but we usually do ask those questions. What do the song mean? So Abu Mamere Makeba, they'll speak about Abu Nelson Mandela, Abu all those guys, Abu Or Tambo. They sing about them in songs. So people, when they hear those songs, obviously they'll ask, what do you mean about this line? And then they'll explain and they'll expose the injustices that were happening to black people in South Africa, black, colored, Indian, all those kind of things. I mean, all that race. So each and every one was an activist, young and old. There was an activist. But when apartheid ended, I think all of the guys transformed and understood that now it's time to celebrate, because we have a black president for the majority of people. Because I think to this day, according to stats, 80% of the people in race in South Africa, they are blacks, and then I think it's only about 16 or 17% that are whites, and then the other percentage is for coloreds and Indians and all those kind of things. So according to what I think, according to my observations about things, is that when apartheid ended, all the other things, they changed and they transformed. The music, the melodies, the songs that have been written, the poems that have been written, they changed and they evolved according to the time. But the media didn't change, because the media was supposed to now change to talk about the good things that the then government, the later government, which is the democratic elected government, were doing. But the media stuck on the roles that they've been doing, because according to the way things are, according to how and when the media, especially the black media, I'll say that deliberately, and I know some people may question it, but it's okay. The black media that I'm talking about is those guys on Twitter, the guys who are always negative and all those kind of things. Those guys, I'm going to put them on an umbrella and say it's black media. So the black media didn't evolve. The main role of the black media during apartheid, it was to talk about everything that was bad in the country, because obviously on the mainstream those things were not showcased. Because why? The then president, the then government understood very well, you can't talk about the bad things that's happening on the country. They can only portray the good things so that people will think that everything is going well on the country. So the black media, the media, then when things transform, they didn't transform because according to their basis, they've been founded on the basis that they report on bad things. But now they didn't change their mindsets to say, now tables have changed. We can't be looking at the bad things that's happening in the country because now someone else is in charge. The only thing that they were supposed to do, according to my belief, they were supposed to talk about the good things that were happening. If we can do an assessment now, in the past almost 30 years, it's going to be 30 years next year, April. In the past 30 years, what has been done? What has been the shift that has happened in the South African economy and all those kind of things? How many black lives have been uplifted by the current government? It's a lot of people. It's a lot of things that have been changed by the government. So to say South Africa is a failed state, according to my belief, according to my observations, I think that statement is false. It's rubbish because South Africa is not a failed state. Yes, it has its own issues and all those kind of things, but it's not a failed state. Up to this time, if South Africa was a failed state, nothing was going to be functioning. But things are functioning. It's just that people are still focusing on the bad things that are happening in the country. No one is telling the good stories of the good things that are happening around. No one is talking of the clinics that have been built from 1994 up until now. For the past 30 years, the current government have built more clinics as compared to the then apartheid government. The apartheid government have been there since 1848. They've been the government, but they didn't do much work as compared to the current government. In 30 years, how many universities have been built? How many universities are under construction now on this current government? How many clinics have been built? How many police stations have been built? There were no police stations in the townships, in the villages. There were no water. People were going to get water from the rivers, but in most villages now there's tap water and all those kind of things. Yes, I do understand there are still villages or townships that don't have tap water or running water and all those kind of things. But how many other villages and townships that have water and all those kind of things? I'll make a quick example. When I was growing up, um, actually, before I can go there even, I it's a very small number of our parents and the bigger, I mean our bigger brothers, the guys of 80s and 70s. It's only a small number of those people with qualifications who went to tertiary and got qualifications, and most of them they stuck on undergrad graduate qualifications like your diplomas and your higher certificates and all those kind of things. Our generation now, people they go up to masters, people go up to um doctorates and all those kind of things. People, when we were growing up, our fathers completed schools when they were very old. When we got to secondary, when we got to primary, we were starting with guys who were much older than us. And the reason why they were old, it's not because they failed, but it's because classes were boycotted. People will go to school for 3 months, and then the next coming 5 months, 6 months, they're striking, they're boycotting classes and all those kind of things because of what was happening during apartheid. But if you can compare that, you find people in varsity, someone 17, 18 is already in varsity, is already independent, living an independent life. It didn't happen in the old days. So the government have been progressive. It's just that the media, the people who are supposed to show that part of the country, they are not showing that part of the country. Their bases, they've been founded on the basis that they are going to talk about the negative things. Even though people have changed, they didn't change, they didn't transform their mentality. They still stuck on talking about the negative things that are happening in the country. There are a lot of positive and good things that are happening in the country. There are a lot of programs that are happening in the country. Social welfare. How much money does the government give to people who are not working, people who cannot work, people who are disabled, or people who are living with a disability, people, all those kind of things, grants and all those kind of things, grants, pension and all those kind of things. In nowadays, there's a grant that you always qualify for. If you can't get work, you can start a business. There's a grant, there's NYDA, they can give you a grant, there's a CEDA, there's all those kind of things. Yes, you might not be able to access them because of maybe the environment that you're coming from, but it doesn't mean that those things are not there. There's a lot of money that goes back to treasury for things that have not been done, or maybe for because there are no people who are starting businesses on and all those kind of things. There's money about those things. Like there's a lot of money that's out there for us to access. How many people have got their land since 1994 up until now? How many people have got back their farms and all those kind of things? Yes, the slow process that's going to take time. It's obviously not going to happen overnight, because one thing that you have to understand as well, which is the same thing that I think it's going to happen in the next coming government that's coming now. So what the ANC is doing at the current stages. So the ANC have taken a lot of loans from a lot of people, and they are making pledges, and they are making commitments. Whatever commitment that they are making, for example, they can say give us 3 billion, and then we're going to pay it by 2016, and then 2024 EFF comes in, or another I'm just going to say EFF because I don't want the other political parties to come. So let's say, for argument's sake, EFF comes in and becomes the running government. They're running the government. They're going to inherit a government that has billions and billions and billions of debts. Because from what I understand from Uputi, yes, I think it's Put. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the name wrongly. So that Deputy Minister. So what he was talking about is that when the 19 when the current government won the elections and became the government, they had a lot of debts from other countries, of which it wasn't their debt, it was the previous government. But it doesn't work like that. If a company is owing SARS and you change all the CEOs and the directors and all those kind of things, company still owes SARS. It still owes whatever that is owing SARS. It's not going to say, because now the people who are in charge of the company now they've left and all those kind of things, so now the debt is going with them. So whatever political party that's going to govern the country after 2024, it's going to stay with that debt. Whatever amount the debt is, they're going to inherit that debt, and you're going to have to plan each and everything from those kind of things, and whatever promises. If you can remember correctly, what former president Jacob Zuma, what he did before he left office, he said there's going to be free education in South Africa, and then he left. So Ramaphosa, when he came in, because that promise has been there, we don't care if Zuma is there or it's not there, but you can't tell us that now, no, we have to talk about this free education thing. We've been promised free education and we're demanding free education. Don't care who promised us, but for the fact that the president had promised us that, we want that. So, for example, if you want to inherit the country, but you don't want the social welfare grants and all those kind of things, it's going to be difficult for you to scratch those things out, because those things have been there, have been promised them, and all those kind of things. So, if the current government in South Africa, if they had a marketing, if they had a propaganda machine that was going to market it like it is, like America is being marketed, there's nothing bad that you're going to know about America. Even if there's something bad that you'll know about America, but it's not going to overshadow the good things that are happening in America. Each and everyone now believes on the American dream. But however you get to get that American dream, no one cares about it. No one cares about the lives that are going to step on before you reach that American dream. So people are going to put this American dream on the billboard and make it sound as if it's the best thing that ever happened in our lives. But if you can check, people in Africa, some people in Africa, they live a much better life as compared to people in America. People have talked about things that are happening in America. The way the cost of living is so high. People barely surviving those kind of things. You find all people, grandmothers and mothers, they can't stay home and rest. They still work up until they die, and some of them, they work 2 jobs, 3 jobs. They work day shift and night shift, or they work a job and then there's part-time jobs. When they're off, they have to go and do laundry for other people and all those kind of things. But here in South Africa, as much as those things, they happened, but they hardly happen, because there's a lot of good things here happening in South Africa. And the only thing that's missing, it's people who are going to talk about those good things that are going to happen in South Africa, that are happening in South Africa. The reason why I had to do a shout out to Rutendo Matsinyarare earlier on is because Rutendo Matsinyarare is talking about all the good things that are happening in Zimbabwe. He is saying when the big corporate companies left Zimbabwe, black people went to get licenses to distribute fuel, and one of the richest guys now in Zimbabwe is the guy who is distributing fuel around the country. And if the big companies were there, those people were not going to be there, but they are there now because of the big corporate companies that left Zimbabwe. You can say it's not a good state to work in, but there are a lot of people who are doing pretty well in Zimbabwe. Him and Joshua Maponga are always talking about the fact that in Zimbabwe you can go and get a license tomorrow, a mining license tomorrow. It's so easy like that to get things there. So those are the things that you'll never see on the news. Those are the things you'll never see in the news. The only thing that are going to see in the news is that Zimbabwe is a failed state. Zimbabwe is not functioning. There's corruption and all those kind of things. Each and everyone knows that the whites are corrupt to the core, because up to this day they still get the bigger tenders and all those kind of things. There are roads that they've been building ever since we were growing up. They've been building them. They've built them twice already. The same road. That contract is there. It's an evergreen contract. But no one's going to talk about those companies, the companies that are on the shadows. But they're going to talk about Subulanyana companies. They're going to say 500,000. But those companies, they are getting like billions and billions of rands. And the disadvantage about those companies is that they are not investing that money in the country. As soon as they get their money, they put their money on the offshore accounts and all those kind of things. So it doesn't come back to the South African economy. But if a South African person becomes rich, for an example, a Patrice Motsepe, Patrice Motsepe's money is still coming here. There's a Patrice Motsepe Foundation that's doing remarkable work. There's a Patrice Motsepe APC Motsepe League for soccer, which is doing extremely well for talent and all those kind of things. If you can see the work that Patrice Motsepe has done with Mamelodi Sundowns, I think on the big three teams, Mamelodi Sundowns is the only team that has females. And if you understand the team, a team is not only the senior team. It starts from the development, from the beginning, from the young ages. They grow up until they become senior players, 23 and all those kind of things. But there's reserves and all those kind of things. And running a team, for example, the Mamelodi Sundowns ladies team, because there are fewer teams that they can compete with in South Africa. They usually compete with teams from out of South Africa because there are less teams to compete with in South Africa. So they usually go and play Zimbabwe and all those kind of things. How much money does it cost just for one match? Leaving South Africa with the whole squad, which is 23 players plus technical team plus everyone about the hotel and all those kind of things. Go there, book a hotel for 2 days for training and all those kind of things. How much food is going to cost them and all those kind of things. It's millions just for a match. It's millions. But look at his money that's coming back to the economy. How many people just on the Mamelodi Sundowns? How many black South Africans are there benefiting from those kind of people? But then you can check all the guys that are owning Shoprats and all those kind of things. Their money is not coming back to South Africa. Their money is sitting on the offshore accounts and all those kind of things. And even when they're supporting NPOs, the kind of NPOs that they're supporting NPOs Afana, AfriForum. Those NPOs, as much as they work for black people, but they also work for white people, and a lot. They don't clean a cars and all those kind of things. They're going to clean on the estates and all those kind of things. They're going to cut the grass on the places where there's already contractors who are cutting the grass and all those kind of things. So South Africa, I believe South Africa is not a failed state. The only thing that has been failed that's failed in South Africa is the media. The media has failed to prioritize on the good things that are happening in South Africa. How many people elokishini abangasebenzi but they are doing remarkable jobs in the communities? Abondlebe from KZN, those guys who are taking people who are addicts, abadlinya and all those kind of things, and bring them back, Baba support and all those kind of things. And those people are not working. They just relying on sponsors and all those kind of things. And sometimes they don't even have sponsors. They go to Facebook, bafuna donations and all those kind of things. How many good stories are like those that are supposed to be on the mainstream media, that are supposed to be shown there? And I think I'm going to make another video about the fact that even us as the citizens of South Africa, we have failed South Africa. As much as we complain that South Africa is a failed state, but we have failed South Africa because the government is going to put pavement for us. But then we are the same people who are going to take those bricks from the pavement. So when I'm a pavement, and all those kind of things. We are still vandalizing, we are still corrupt to the core, because corruption is not only 15 million, even 15 rand is thin. Mampara is thin. It's also corruption, because why are you stealing 15 rand is thin? It's money. It's man. So each and everyone must look at their own shoulders. Each and everyone must look at their own hands. If your hands dirty, wash them. Try by all means. If would say if your hands are dirty, they are dirty because you're doing good work, not because you're stealing, not because you're destroying the country. South Africa is not a failed state. If each and every one of us are going to prioritize on talking all the good things that are happening in South Africa, people are going to even forget that there's something wrong that's happening in the country. I'm not saying that that everything is is fine. Not everything is fine. If you can imagine a 29-year-old, someone who was born 1994. At this point in time, I think it's one of those times whereby they are dealing with midlife crisis, because they're trying to find themselves. Because I think I'm going to also do another video whereby I'm going to try to unpack the journey of South Africa since 1994, because people want South Africa to be a revolution country. They want ANC to be a revolution. You can't be a revolution when you're in power. And when you're in power, you can't be fighting with everyone. When you're in power, you're trying to bring stability in the country. You're trying to relocate, to relate with other countries. You're trying to make peace with other countries. You're trying to find ways and ways to make sure that you put value in the people that you govern. You can't be a revolution forever, because at some point revolution has to stop. A wise man is a person who knows when to stop, when to fight, and when to stop fighting, because you can't fight forever. At some point in time, you're going to have to stop fighting. Black media, if you know that you are in media, stop posting about the bad things that are happening in South Africa. Stop posting about the bad things that are happening to our celebrities. The first thing and the main thing that you have to do first, you have to start by trying by all means that you look at the good things that are happening. If someone has done a good thing and now there are things that's bad that's happening to him, the best thing that you can ever do is to go to their inbox and try to offer your support and all those kind of things. Even if you want to share your disappointments about those people, I think inbox is the best way to do it. And then it's the same thing that you'll ever do to your brothers. If your brothers they've messed up, they've done something wrong, and but you don't have to take that thing and post it on the socials. You don't have to take that thing and show the whole world that your brother has done something wrong, because we also do something wrong each and every day. There are things that you don't do according to how things are supposed to be done. If you're a Christian, there are things that Christians are not supposed to be doing and you're doing. And it wouldn't be nice for people to take those kind of things and put them on social media and take those kind of things and go to church and talk about those kind of things, because it's not a good thing to talk about bad things. The best thing that we all have to do as South Africans, we have to talk about the good things. It's going to start from your family. It's going to start from your village. It's going to start from your circle. It's going to start from your social media. When you're following celebrities and if they're doing the good things, that's when we have to see you sharing. Those are the posts that we have to share. The thing of sharing a bad post about people who are failing and all those kind of things. I'm not saying people are not going to do bad things. People are going to have to do bad things, and sometimes doing bad things also is also subjective, because I might be doing something that I think it's right, but according to me it's right, but and then when it comes to you or it comes to the law, it's not right. So it's not that it's always intentional to do bad things and all those kind of things. Sometimes just because you don't know. Sometimes I think Penel talked about this. Sometimes you share a joke with your crew that it seems like a joke, but with someone else it doesn't seem like a joke. It seems like sexual harassment. If you're talking about a certain part of the body of a woman, the girls that you grew up with, they like, to them it's just a joke. It's the way you guys tease each other. But from someone else coming from another country, coming from a different environment, is going to take offense from that. So what I'm saying is, I'm going to emphasize this over and over and over again. South Africa is not a failed state. The only thing that's failed in South Africa is the media. The media has failed to talk about the good things that South Africa has been doing. The media has failed over the past 29 years, have failed to go and look on the good things that South Africa has done. The schools that have been building, the roads that have been building, all the services and products that they've been offering. How many people, how many black South Africans can start businesses now? How many businesses are South African? Big or not big, but how many businesses, how many people in South Africa are starting businesses now? Yes, of course, it's step by step, but look at Abo Lukao, Nabo Thabo, is it Thabo? Makam, yes, I think it's Thabo Makam, Abo Tio Baloyi, Abo Lebo, Mokobela, all those guys. Look at the women that are pushing the country, that are pushing positivity in the country. No one is going to talk about those things. Each and everyone is going. If someone is donating shoes in schools, people are not going to share that. You're not going to see that trend. You're not going to see a Theo Baloyi trend because he's donated over 1 million shoes, school shoes to black South Africans. But if anything happens, if a shop closes, Olekao recently closed a shop of the Chris brand. I think it was Chris Republic. He closed that only shop that he had because he said it's not making money. But it was as if he's losing money because the black media hasn't transformed to talk about the positive things that are happening in the country. They haven't transformed to talk about all the good things that people are doing. They haven't transformed to say, yes, of course, when we were starting, things were different, and our main aim was to expose the bad things that the government was doing. But now things have changed. Your main aim is to bring hope in South Africans. The main aim now is to bring hope, is to make people feel valuable because the side effects of the black media now is because young people like us, they're not going to vote. Why? It's because they don't see the good things that the government is doing. They don't see the good things that the current government has the power to do because they are not being portrayed enough. There's no propaganda machine that's going to prepare to show those things to the public and all those kind of things. But if each and every one of us will just look around just next to you, how many guys in the hood abatrain abantwana ibhola and all those kind of things abazama ukucoca abantwana babacoce. There are a lot of those guys, but you're not going to talk to them. But as soon as a guy rapes, as soon as a woman adampa umntwana emadustbin, as soon as a woman does this and that, as soon as a man does this and that, then he's going to trend and all those kind of things. Then ama-shares azoshare'a ama-posts and all those kind of things. But they don't share our posts masenza ama-application ey'koleni. They don't share those posts. But if they can say now Hadison urape someone, ama-post abazowashare lapho and all those kind of things, you'll hear all whatever that you want to people are going to say whatever that they want to say, but they don't have opinions when they are doing the good things. They don't have the opinions when they are doing the good things. I am going to urge each and every person who knows that they're in media, who knows that they have the influence, to try by all means to influence things that are positive, influence the positive things. You can't always be influencing all those kind of things as in a grand. We can't always go into our podcast and talk about our OnlyFans and all those kind of things. And I mean, if you can just go around now and check on our age group level, like my podcast alingana nathi, like the guys on our age, ukhohlwe abo Penwell, ukhohlwe abo DJ Sbu, ukhohlwe ngabo David Mashabela, ngabo Nkululeko Nkewu, ngabo Justice, khohlwe about those guys and go and talk to and go and listen to what's this podcast, spreading humor. Go and listen to that podcast. It's for young people, but the sex that they talk about there, it's on another level. Go and listen to open chats. The only thing that they talk about is sex. They can't talk about the good things that are happening in this country. They can't talk about. I mean, when last did you see a post about Black Coffee? When last did you see a post about guys like Trevor Noah, like Abo Nestisi, guys who are doing the good things outside South Africa, guys who are doing the most about South Africa. But as soon as something bad happens to them, each and everyone is going to know on a day when Black Coffee was divorcing with his ex-wife Entle. Each and everyone was talking about it, but recently Black Coffee, he was doing the most. Madison Square Garden, he was doing the most. But people were not sharing. Like even didn't even come on national news because that's supposed to come. That's supposed to come on platforms and all those kind of things. Ramaphosa recently, when Sia Kolisi, they qualified for the semi-final on the World Cup. He did a video call to him and talked and thanked him and congratulated him. Those are the things that we're supposed to show. That is the thing that you're supposed to show. Everything is not going to, it's not supposed to be humor. Everything is not supposed to be something that you laugh about. Because at this point in time, we're laughing about the things that are not supposed to be laughing about. South Africa is not a failed state, and we are making it as if like it's a failed state, as if like nothing good is coming out of South Africa. But there is something good that's coming out of South Africa. There are a lot of things that are good that are coming out of South Africa. As much as we complain each and every day about whatever that we want to complain about, but there's a lot of things that are good that are coming out of South Africa. And I'd like to say, and I'm going to take this statement, thanks God I remembered his surname. The Deputy Minister of Higher Education is Phuthi Manamela. So that guy, he said, I think him and David, they were talking about the fact that there are strikes guma higher education institutions, and then he said, if things were as bad as people make it sound, there was not going to be any learning that's taking place guma institutions, because the way the sound is, the way it sounds as if like things are terrible, and he's saying if things were that terrible, there was not going to anyone who's learning. There was not going to anyone who's going to school. But people are still going to school as much as things are bad. So they are just making it sound as if it's a disaster, but it's not. Yes, things are bad. Yes, things are not good. But it's not a disaster as much as people make it sound to be. Let's use these platforms and talk about the positive things that are happening. Let's use these platforms and talk about the good things that are happening. Plug people on. If there's an event, a function that's positive, plug people on. Like let's just become positive. Let's just become optimistic about our country. Let's do each and everything that we have to do and make sure that we contribute to the betterment of the country, and not focus on talking about the bad things that are happening. It won't be nice to always see your brother on social media being dragged because of the mistake that he's doing. Each and every one of us has mistakes, and each and every one of us has different stages of life. So because we are on a particular stage in life, and we are going through that particular stage in life, it doesn't mean that you're not going to pass there. And people don't have the rights to talk about those particular moments when you were down, when you were low. Because even like Julius Malema, up to this day, people still talk about VPS. They still talk about tax when he was on his 20s, when he didn't know anything. And if you can remember, Julius Malema didn't go to school to learn about the text and all those kind of things. Those are the things that they got him along the way. So he made those mistakes. People are still talking about those things. They are still talking about those things up to this point. Why? Because in their mind, in their agenda, their greatest accomplishment of work is to talk bad about people, is to talk bad about the country, is to talk bad about the next person. if their brother makes a mistake, it's a mistake. But if someone from next door makes the same thing, then it's not a mistake. Why? Why do you have to make it sound as if South Africa is not a failed state? Because it's not a failed state. If South Africa was a failed state, no one was going to be graduating left, right, and center. Of course, people are graduating and they are not getting employment. But someone who went to tertiary and someone who didn't go to tertiary, they are not the same. Going to tertiary, it's going to expose you to things and all those kind of things. Your vocabulary is going to be different. The way you speak, the way you write, the way you articulate yourself, the way you handle yourself, it's because you've been in an environment where you've been living, when you've been staying with different people from different cultures, so you understand a lot of things. You go to varsity from Etandonal, you go to varsity, and then when you come there, at least wabuanyana hanyana. At least wabuanyana watsiba gore no ke a utlwa ke a tlisisa, whatever the thing is. At least understand those kind of things. Understand the dynamics of people from the north, people from the west, people from the south. Understand the dynamics of how things so. They going to university, even if I didn't get employment, but I wasn't going to be the same as person who's been in Dundonald their whole life. Because if you check out those people who've been in Dundonald their whole lives, as much as some of them, their life is progressive, but their mindset is different from a person who's been to places and all those kind of things. As I don't want to make this video very long, but I think I've conveyed, I've poured my heart. It's not enough, but please, let's try by all means to put the good things about the country, because South Africa is not a failed state. If you check at countries like Swaziland, countries like Zimbabwe, countries like all those kind of things, not things that you see on the news. If you go there and talk to people that are coming from those countries, they'll tell you that South Africa is way better. Is way better. Grant, grant, pension, grant. Education iyabhadarelwa. You pay for education from grade R up until you pay for that education. In South Africa, basic education, at least you pay for basic education, like a primary, they pay for you. And in some places, you don't even pay up until you get to grade 12. Even after grade 12, you get to university to get NSFAS, you pass, becomes a bursary. You don't pay up until you qualify, up until you work. And sometimes if you don't work, you go and going to start a business, you draft a business plan, you go to NYA, they fund you, they give you 50,000, you go to CEDA, they fund you, they help you, they give you the skills, they teach you, and all those kind of things, they support you. South Africa is not a failed state. If you can't see the positive things about South Africa, at least don't share about the bad things that you see. Because there are good things that are happening in South Africa, it's just that you are not exposed to them. Or if you are exposed to them, you don't want to talk about them. But there are good things that are happening in South Africa. My name is Hadison, and that's what I wanted to say today. I'll see you at work. I believe this is episode 14. I'm going to push and I'm going to push and I'm going to push. I'm going to deliver an episode to you each and every week. Please go to the channel and on the playlist, go and check the Hadison book club. So I have a book club there, books that I think are influential, books that I think we should read. I'm going to try by all means to bring to you guys, because I think my audience for now is still South African. So I'm going to try by all means to find books, South African books, and bring them to you, so that when you think with the South African mind, because I know a lot of us now were thinking with the Eastern or the European mind because of the books that we read. Each and everything that we consume in our mind, it's becoming a Western mind. So I'm going to try by all means to bring South African and African books, so that when you think in an African mind, so that case studies that have been there, case studies in South Africa. You read a book, they're talking about the Harvard and MIT and all those kind of things, and some of those things they are relevant to us. So I'm going to try by all means to bring South African books and hopefully going to elevate your mind. Hopefully we're going to build this village of the black's mind first, and make sure that the mind is strong. Make sure that the mind is stronger than the body, and make sure that the mind is stronger than everything. It's going to withstand each and every season that's going to come, and whatever happens, we survive. Whatever happens, we elevate. Whatever happens, we come out stronger. Whatever happens, we develop a thick skin and withstand whatever circumstances that we're going to go through. Shout out to David Mashabela. Shout out to Podcast and Chill. Shout out to DJ Sbu. Shout out to Penwell Umlojwa. Shout out to Pensin as well, because I listened to him and some of my ideas, and I get affirmations from those guys, because sometimes you might have an idea but you don't know how to curate it, you don't know how to make it sound better, because it's one thing to have something to say, but it's another thing to know how to say it and all those kind of things. So shout out to those guys for being my mentor, especially in this podcasting thing. As much as my podcast is different from theirs, it's not an interview, but whatever that I'm trying to do is the same thing that's they are doing. We're trying to teach you guys. We're trying to make sure that to elevate each other's minds, each other's lives, whichever way possible. My name is Hadison, mfana seDonton, phansi eMpumalanga, ezweni sakaMpisikazi, eDontoni, Claremont, Slovo, Good, Shabalala, Mshengu, Weavali, Mayflower, Impulusi, yonke namaphethelo. And I'm coming to you live from Mbombela, Game, Nelspruit, Swalala, Mtunzini, Jerusalem, Emahushu, Chochocho, and the surroundings. Guys, I'll see you on the next episode. Cheers.